Welcome back, shop rats. Today here in the shop we have an issue that we need to take care of before we can go ahead and continue working on all the projects. Let's just watch the show intro. I'll see you in about 30 seconds and we'll take you through the process of what we have to do to get this thing back up and running. I'm Mike and this is My Cars Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
I don't understand why things don't last forever. Got a 40-plus-year-old trailer house furnace here that we heat the shop with, and I've had problems with the blower in the past. In fact, I had it apart just recently, re-lubricating the bearings in the blower motor, and that was working really well until the armature or the windings or the brushes or I don't know, something went out. So I just finally bit the bullet and went and bought an upgrade blower from one of my customers at my tech business, and he owns a heating and cooling company. And so we're going to go ahead and get this put in. I'll take you through this in case you have problems with yours. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be something different, something fun to share. So my channel, my rules, let's do this. I've had pretty much everything on this furnace apart over the 15 years that I've owned it. And of course, I've mentioned I've had the blower motor apart several times. We got to pull it back out of there and get it straightened up, put back together again, and put the new motor in it. So it's basically got a zipper on it, just a couple of screws, pretty easy to fix. The trick is going to be getting the new motor in, which is a bit different than the one here. We may need to do a little metal work, I don't know. I'm guessing some of you guys have furnaces like this in your garages or shops. They're very common. Came out of a trailer house. I actually bought pretty much the entire trailer house. A friend of mine was tearing it apart, and I bought all the lumber, and I bought the furnace and a few other things out of it. I actually built a paint booth out of all the lumber that came out of it. I have some of what's left of that paint booth upstairs, mostly the trailer house rafters, which I have plans for someday. But that's all there is to this. 2 wires, which I had quick connects on, 2 screws, and out she comes. There's just 3 screws to take this off of here. We'll get these loose, but we also need to loosen the squirrel cage on the other side. Otherwise, it won't come apart. The other thing I've noticed about this is there's probably paint. Well, I know there's paint stuck to the squirrel cage. When I put it together last time, it was vibrating. Actually, it had been vibrating before that, but probably when I had it apart, it knocked some of that paint loose and knocked it out of balance. So we'll have to go ahead and fix that as well. It spins just fine, so it's not the bearings this time. Something electrical is what quit in it, and I'm not mucking with it anymore. We're just going to go ahead and get a new one in it. Snow falling off the roof of the barn always kind of scares me. It's like the whole barn's coming down. You might not have been able to hear that, but it was quite loud. Okay, now that we got that loose, we'll go ahead and pull the rest of the screws out. Okay, now we just got to do a little tap, tap, tap on the shaft here to drive the motor itself out of the squirrel cage, and it'll be out. Normally I would use a drift or something on this, but being as I'm replacing this motor, I don't care. As long as I'm not peening it over, and I know I'm not because I've had it in and out of here so many times. Voila! We'll need to clean that squirrel cage out in there because you can't really take it out, not easily. I don't want to tear the whole squirrel cage apart. There's screws here, but I think it's like, it looks like it's tack welded around the edge, and I don't want to mess with it, so we'll just, yeah, maybe. Actually, nah, I don't want to mess with it. We'll just blow it out real good in there and try to get it cleaned up. All right, I haven't opened this up yet, so I hope it's the right thing. Looks right. Well, that shaft is a little short. I don't know. That bothers me a little. But maybe it sits in there just a little further. I don't know. We'll have to get the thing up here and see. That's the one they said is supposed to replace it. This has a whole bunch more wires. Maybe this is, oh, it's a ground. Okay, 2 wires and ground. We're good. But I'm concerned about that shaft length. However, they said it's supposed to work, so yeah, that bearing is wore out. Guess we'll find out. Now there's an adapter bracket also that's got to go on it. Right here. Oh, I see. Okay. The motor may sit in the scroll cage further. That may be what the issue is. I bet it does. And that would give it its shaft depth then. Very good. And there's adapters in there to make it fit. Yep. So we got to figure that out. All good. Give it a little squeeze here. Maybe. Hopefully I got enough room to get my screw and my nut in there. Very good. Let's make sure our wires are kind of in the sort of right place. Looks good. The only other thing that bothers me is these brackets are angled out. I'm not sure about that, but let's see if they provide us with screws, because the screws that are in there are way too short. Maybe we better look at the destructions. I think we're going to try to just relocate the bolt holes and use the bracket as is. If it doesn't work, then we'll go ahead and modify the bracket. But I think our best plan, I mean, we could just slice this and fold it a little bit and make it flat and use these holes, and it's very tempting to do. I don't know. I know I'm going to have to get different screws regardless. These screws are just way too short for this with the grommet, so I need these same screws that are like a 1/2 inch long. And maybe that's my best option. I just hate modifying something brand new, but they don't make the blower for this anymore. This one was not this one. This one was already a replacement, so this is probably its third. But if we were to snip these, brace, and just twist these down, screw them in, then weld them up, it would fit really nice, and I think that probably makes the most sense. So we took our cutoff wheel and made a little V-cut here. This metal is really, really hard. So we made a little V-cut, and then I bent them so they're more flat. So I got to do this one yet, get that flat, and then see if I went enough. But yeah, this stuff is really, really hard. Unbelievably hard metal. So let's see how that looks. The holes now pretty much line up. I think we could get those screws in there minus the grommets, which the old one didn't have grommets. So I'm really tempted to not put the grommets in, but I think with any of that vibration, the grommets would be better. So we'll see. Let's see if we can get the screws in there. That one's in. Of course, we got to find the screws first. There they are. And part of my thinking here is I get this screwed in place, get it tightened down, and then weld it up so that I know it's centered. That's why I didn't cut them all the way off. I wanted to keep them centered. Yeah. Make sure everything is sopathetic, or at least copacetic. My fear is that with the grommet in there, it's not going to quite line up right. So do a little more work on it. Well, that would definitely work. Might bend them a little more. They're still a little angled. So this one here is really nice and flat, and I think that's what I want to see. So we'll have to go back over here and grind these a little bit more just to get a little more twist on them, and then we should be good. So I've got the grommets moved, and I got longer bolts in there now. So we need to start, well, we need to prep this and get ready to weld this. So I got to pull it back apart again, get everything ground down, then we'll put it back in there, get the wire welder out, tack it up, take it out, weld it all up, and hopefully everything will be good. I do see it's tending to twist a little bit, so I need to be concerned a little bit about that, but we can take care of that. When this is all done, I'm probably also going to go ahead and cut all of this excess off so it's not bumping against the housing here. It'll just make for a cleaner install. But it's definitely trying to twist, and I'm not sure why. It's probably because the holes are just a little bit smaller even with this bent in like this. But I've got clearance between the bracket and the blower housing, so that's the main thing. And I can shovel that around a little bit, like so. And that's definitely related to that twist. So as long as we got good clearance in there, there's plenty over there, too much almost, so yep, we'll get it tacked up now. I think we'll get it cleaned up and get it tacked up. If it's got a little twist to it, so be it. Okay, so we got things tacked up now. We're going to go ahead and try to fit this back in, make sure everything lines up. If the bracket lines up good, we'll take it back out, put the motor in it, line it all up again, make sure everything lines up good. And we'll go from there. I think we're going to be okay, but we don't know 100% till we do it. So, I mean, it's got to twist a little bit here, but hopefully, as long as the bolts go in and the motor goes in, that's all that really matters. So, if we're going to jockey it around a little bit to make it happen, then that's what it'll be. Okay, that looks good. It's not hitting anywhere. So the next question will be, will it fit once the motor is in the holes? Squirrel cage spins free and clear, so I'm happy with that. It's dragging right now, but it needs to. When I put it up like this, and shove that squirrel cage back on that motor more where it belongs, it spins free and clear. So we're good. I'm happy with that. We got tons of room to pound that down in there more. I'm not going to bother because I got to take it all apart again. But some of the reason I thought about sharing this with you was to show you that the metalwork stuff that you do when we're doing all this cars can apply to so many other things. And I'm sure you're aware of that, but I thought it was a good practical application for just a little. I knew what this bracket looked like, and I figured we were going to have to modify it. So we did, of course, we are, and it's working out real well. So we're going to go ahead now and pull this all back apart again, take the grommets out so they don't melt, weld that up real nice and solid, put it all back together again. We should be able to install it in the furnace. all welded up. I burned through in a couple spots, no big deal. I'm not going to bother grinding any of that. Who cares? It's a furnace. Just let it cool down a little bit, and then we will get the grommets back in and get it to fit. And I see I got a little stray wire over here. Get that out of the way. There we go. Okay, good. So hopefully everything's going to go back together again now, and it should be done. Just got to finish it up. One of the things I was just doing is, well, twofold. Making sure that the squirrel cage is centered here so that it has equal air distribution and it won't hit on the squirrel cage or on the housing. The other thing is these bolts are just a little long. You can see them. They're not quite rubbing, but we're going to have an issue there. So I'm going to need to find some shorter bolts, put some more washers on it, or cut those off or something. Not sure what yet. We'll figure that out here in just a second. But I wanted you to see where we're at. So it's all together. It's looking good. These brackets are bumping a little bit, so I may or may not cut them off. I was thinking from the future perspective, it might be a good idea to just leave them. That way, if I want to use this on another application, I don't have to modify the bracket if it takes the bigger bolt pattern. So we'll see. Undecided yet, but I got to get it all tightened down first. Stack washers on, just to make it clear. I'll look for some different bolts for that. I'd like to get the screw head bolts. Those are nice, but for now, this is going to work. I'm going to have to pull the squirrel cage back out of there and power wash it once the weather's nice. But I got my quick connects back on here for now, and everything looks good. So I'm not saying I recommend these, but they were on that furnace when I got it, and it's been working for 15 years that I've owned it, so good enough. We'll call it good at that. But it mounts nicely, and with those modified brackets, I think we're in good shape. Have to tape those wires up a little bit, but for now they're going to work. Hook up our power. Woohoo! Sounds better than it ever has. Yep, sounds good. All right, let's fire the furnace up. See what happens. Pretty sure the pilot light lit. Yep, it did. All right, good, there we go. Just leave everything opened up here, fire it up, see what happens. Guess I better go ahead and tighten up those lower bolts. I forgot about that. Something's not right. Nope, something's not right. And here's the problem. I forgot to tighten that down. So the squirrel cage is spinning in the shaft. So we got to clock this back properly like that. Get this recentered in there like it's supposed to be, and then we'll be fine. It was the nut behind the wrench that was the problem. Yep. Okay, that's clocked and centered again now, so we're good. Let's try again, see how that works. Much better. Okay, here we go. We'll see what happens now. Very nice. Blowing much harder than even the repaired one that I had in there before, so I'm good with that. I like it. Good old Miller trailer house furnace. So I've had it for, we've been in this place 11, 12 years, had it 4 years at the other place, so 15, 16, 17 years. I think it's from in the 80s. Said it's out of an old trailer house and it works good. Well, that's definitely a good job done. I was feeling like maybe I was just being a little wussy and saying that I was requiring it to be too warm out here, but my feet and my legs are absolutely frozen from the couple of hours that I've been out here without that heat on the floor. And of course it's only about 45 degrees out here, so yeah, it's tolerable. I could put boots on, but when I'm doing the kind of work that I'm doing out here, fabricating and so forth, having it warm enough to be comfortable and not have to wear big bulky clothes so you can move around. I'm a big person anyway, and then when you wear another 10, 15, 20 pounds worth of clothes, it just really makes it uncomfortable, and quite frankly, I don't enjoy doing it. If I don't enjoy doing it, I'm not going to be out here working. So, good job done. A couple $100 to get that motor put in there. Screwed up on that shaft, but hey, I share everything, so I didn't have to, but it's just stuff we do. We overlook stuff. It's all human nature. If I did furnaces every day, I probably wouldn't have overlooked that. I thought of it, just forgot it. So anyway, I hope this was mildly entertaining, maybe a little bit educational. Just wanted to share something a little bit different. Today, I am going to be back hard and heavy on the Forsyth Duster and the Stitches Challenger real soon. We're going to be getting that quarter panel off the driver's side now that the floor pans are done. We're going to be getting that wrapped up so we can get that quarter panel attached and all solid to the car. So looking forward to that. Something else I meant to mention about all of this, after I worked on that blower, it was working really well, the original motor when I tore it apart here a month ago. And it just started acting funny after a couple of weeks, and my instincts told me I needed to get that blower motor replaced. I think it could have been a potential fire hazard. It had that motor, it was slowing down, and when it actually quit, I was out here, and it could have potentially caught on fire. So I was cautious, as my instincts were telling me something's just not right there, and I wasn't leaving the furnace on when I wasn't out here. Trust your guts. You don't want to lose your shop and your vehicles. That motor, like I said, I was out here putting the floor pan in the 47 the other day when it quit, and it just slowed down, and you could smell it starting to get hot. And it might have blew a circuit breaker, it might not have, but definitely a potential fire hazard. Had I been in the house when that happened, you know. So trust your instincts on stuff like that, and follow through. Don't neglect it, because you'll regret it if you don't, or at least you might. We're on the Face Thing and on Instagram /MindCarShop. And one more thing, as always, now that we're in heat, rock!